What if I told you that every single millionaire who ever walked this earth followed the exact same blueprint, a secret code that was hidden in plain sight for over 90 years? What if the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and building generational wealth could be reduced to 13 simple laws that anyone can master? What if everything you've been taught about money and success has been keeping you trapped in mediocrity while others prosper using knowledge that should belong to everyone? What if today, right now, you could start implementing the same strategies that built empires, created dynasties, and transformed ordinary people into legends? What if the key to your breakthrough has been waiting for you all along, and all you needed was someone to show you the way? In 1897, a young reporter named Napoleon Hill received an assignment that would change the course of human understanding about wealth and success forever. Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate who controlled more wealth than entire nations, made Hill an offer that seemed impossible. Carnegie challenged Hill to spend 25 years studying the most successful people in America, to discover the hidden patterns that separated the wealthy from the struggling masses. What Hill discovered during those decades of research became the foundation for what many consider the most important book ever written about personal achievement. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 27 verse 17 that iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. Hill discovered that every single wealthy person he studied had mastered the art of sharpening themselves through specific principles that operated like natural laws. These weren't suggestions or good ideas, they were immutable laws as reliable as gravity itself. Hill studied titans like Henry Ford, who revolutionized transportation, Thomas Edison, whose inventions lit up the world, and John Rockefeller, who built an oil empire from nothing. What he found was that regardless of their industry, background, or education, they all followed the same 13 principles with religious devotion. The first sacred law Hill discovered was the power of burning desire combined with definite purpose. This isn't wishful thinking or casual wanting. This is the kind of desire that consumes your thoughts, drives your actions, and refuses to accept defeat. Hill found that successful people didn't just want money, they had a specific amount in mind. They knew exactly what they would sacrifice to get it, and they set precise deadlines for achievement. They wrote down their goals with the precision of a legal contract and read them aloud twice daily, morning and evening, as if their very survival depended on it. The Bible speaks of this principle in Mark 11 verse 24, where it says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Hill discovered that the wealthy didn't just believe they would succeed. They programmed their minds to expect success as inevitably as the sun rising each morning. The second law that separated the prosperous from the poor was absolute faith, not just in God, but in their own ability to transform desire into reality. Hill found that successful people possessed an unshakable confidence that bordered on the supernatural. They understood that faith and fear cannot occupy the same mind simultaneously, and they chose faith every single time. This wasn't blind optimism, it was calculated confidence, based on their understanding that thoughts become things. Hill discovered that the wealthy had trained their subconscious minds to reject poverty thinking automatically, like an immune system fighting off disease. They understood that millions of people remain trapped in financial struggle not because of external circumstances, but because they've programmed themselves to expect failure and limitation. The third principle Hill uncovered was the deliberate use of auto-suggestion to reprogram the subconscious mind. The wealthy understood that their subconscious mind was like fertile soil that would grow whatever seeds they planted, whether positive or negative. They carefully guarded their mental diet, feeding their minds only thoughts of abundance, success, and possibility. Hill found that prosperous people used specific techniques to bypass their conscious mind's natural skepticism and plant new beliefs directly into their subconscious. They understood that repetition with emotional intensity was the key to mental transformation. They would visualize their success with such vivid detail that their subconscious mind couldn't distinguish between their mental rehearsal and actual experience. The fourth law that Hill discovered among the wealthy was the strategic acquisition of specialized knowledge rather than general education. While most people believed that accumulating random facts would make them successful, the wealthy focused like laser beams on becoming experts in specific areas that generated income. Hill studied Andrew Carnegie intensively and discovered something shocking. Carnegie knew almost nothing about the technical aspects of steel production, yet he built the largest steel empire in history. Carnegie's secret was surrounding himself with specialists who possessed the exact knowledge he needed, while he focused on vision, leadership, and coordination. This principle revolutionized Hill's understanding of intelligence. The wealthy weren't necessarily the smartest people in traditional terms, but they were the wisest in leveraging other people's expertise for mutual benefit. The fifth principle that distinguished the prosperous was their sophisticated use of both synthetic and creative imagination. Hill found that successful people didn't just dream, they engineered their dreams through systematic imagination. Synthetic imagination involved taking existing ideas, products, or services and combining them in new ways that created value. Creative imagination went deeper, allowing individuals to receive inspiration and insights that seemed to come from beyond their conscious mind. The wealthy understood that imagination was not child's play, but the workshop where all human achievement was first conceived. They deliberately cultivated their imaginative faculties through specific practices, environments, and mental exercises that enhanced their creative capacity. The sixth law involved organized planning with military precision. Hill discovered that the wealthy never left success to chance. They planned their achievements with the same thoroughness that generals planned military campaigns. Every successful person he studied had assembled what Hill called a mastermind group, a team of individuals who provided specialized knowledge, different perspectives, and mutual accountability. These groups met regularly with specific agendas, clear objectives, and defined roles for each member. The wealthy understood that no one achieves significant success in isolation, and they invested enormous energy in building and maintaining relationships with people who could help them reach their goals. They also understood that temporary defeat was not permanent failure, and they continuously revised their plans until they found strategies that worked. Listen, friend, before we go deeper into these life-changing principles, I want to share something from my heart. Every single week, I pour my soul into researching and creating content that can genuinely transform lives, just like Napoleon Hill spent 25 years of his life documenting these principles for future generations. If these insights are speaking to your spirit, if you're feeling that stirring inside that tells you this information could be your breakthrough, would you do me one small favor? Would you hit that subscribe button and let this channel become part of your success journey? I'm not asking because I need bigger numbers. I'm asking because I believe you need this community. When you subscribe, you're not just following a channel. You're joining a movement of people who refuse to accept mediocrity as their destiny. Drop a comment below and tell me which principle hit you the hardest so far, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Together, we're going to build something beautiful, a community where transformation isn't just talked about, it's lived every single day. The seventh principle Hill discovered was the power of quick, decisive action. While most people paralyze themselves with endless analysis and sought approval from everyone around them, the wealthy made decisions rapidly and changed them slowly, only when evidence demanded adjustment. Hill found that successful people valued speed over perfection, understanding that a good plan executed immediately was superior to a perfect plan that never began. They sought counsel from trusted advisors, but never allowed other people's opinions to override their own judgment. The Bible teaches us in James 1 verse 6 that he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. The wealthy had trained themselves to eliminate doubt through decisive action, understanding that momentum was more valuable than perfection. The eighth law was perhaps the most challenging: unwavering persistence in the face of temporary defeat. Hill studied hundreds of people who had accumulated significant wealth and found that every single one had experienced what others would consider devastating failures. The difference was that they interpreted setbacks differently than unsuccessful people. Where others saw permanent failure, they saw temporary inconvenience. Where others saw reasons to quit, they saw information about what needed to be adjusted. They understood that persistence wasn't just about working hard. It was about maintaining faith and continuing forward motion even when circumstances suggested surrender. They had developed what Hill called spiritual immunity to discouragement, treating obstacles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. The ninth principle that Napoleon Hill uncovered was perhaps the most powerful: the deliberate formation and utilization of mastermind alliances. Hill discovered that no individual, regardless of their talent or knowledge, could achieve significant success working in isolation. The most successful people he studied had systematically surrounded themselves with other ambitious, knowledgeable individuals who shared their vision and supported their goals. These weren't casual friendships or networking relationships. These were deep, committed partnerships where each member contributed their unique strengths for the benefit of the entire group. Hill found that when two or more minds focused harmoniously on a definite purpose, they created a form of collective intelligence that exceeded the sum of their individual capabilities. Carnegie's inner circle consisted of over 40 specialists who met regularly to coordinate their steel empire, and Carnegie attributed his entire fortune to the power generated by this alliance. What made these mastermind groups so powerful wasn't just the practical knowledge sharing, but what Hill described as a spiritual dimension. When minds operated in harmony toward a common goal, they seemed to tap into a source of intelligence and inspiration beyond their individual capacities. Members of these groups reported receiving insights, solutions, and creative ideas that felt like they came from outside themselves. The wealthy understood that this wasn't superstition, but a natural law, as reliable as electricity. They cultivated these relationships with the same dedication that musicians practice their instruments, understanding that their success depended not just on what they knew, but on whom they knew and how effectively they could coordinate with others. The 10th principle Hill documented was the mystery of energy transmutation, particularly the channeling of creative life force into achievement. Hill discovered that the most successful individuals possessed highly developed creative energies that they had learned to direct toward their goals, rather than dissipating through undisciplined expression. The giants of industry and achievement were typically individuals who had learned to harness their most powerful natural drives and redirect that energy into building their empires. Hill found that this principle explained why many of the most successful people in history were motivated by their desire to impress, provide for, or build something worthy of their most important relationships. The energy that moved mountains wasn't just ambition, it was love transformed into productive action. Hill observed that the influence of intimate partnerships played a crucial role in male achievement throughout history. Behind every great man, he consistently found a woman whose faith, encouragement, and belief had provided the emotional foundation for his success. This wasn't about dependency, but about the multiplication of power that occurred when two people united their energies toward common objectives. The most successful men he studied had chosen partners who understood their vision, supported their goals, and provided the emotional stability necessary to persist through inevitable challenges. These relationships created a form of spiritual and emotional synergy that enhanced both individuals' capabilities far beyond what either could achieve alone. The 11th principle involved mastering the subconscious mind, which Hill discovered was the connecting link between human consciousness and infinite intelligence. The wealthy had learned to program their subconscious minds deliberately, understanding that this powerful mental facility operated continuously, even during sleep. They fed their subconscious minds a diet of positive, constructive thoughts through daily affirmations, visualization exercises, and careful selection of their mental environment. Hill found that successful people treated their subconscious mind like a faithful servant that would work tirelessly to bring about whatever conditions they consistently impressed upon it. They understood that their subconscious mind couldn't distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences, so they used this characteristic to pre-experience their success until their minds accepted it as inevitable reality. The wealthy also understood that positive and negative emotions couldn't occupy the mind simultaneously, so they deliberately cultivated emotions of faith, love, enthusiasm, desire, hope, and persistence, while systematically eliminating fear, doubt, hatred, anger, jealousy, and revenge. They treated their emotional state as seriously as a doctor treats a patient's vital signs, monitoring their mental condition continuously and making immediate adjustments when negative influences threatened to take control. They understood that their emotions were the power source that energized their thoughts and transformed them into physical reality. The 12th principle Napoleon Hill discovered was the understanding that human consciousness operates like a broadcasting and receiving station, capable of transmitting and receiving thought vibrations across unlimited distances. The wealthy individuals he studied seemed to possess an intuitive understanding of this phenomenon, even though they couldn't explain it scientifically. They had learned to tune their minds to frequencies of success, abundance, and opportunity, while filtering out vibrations of failure, scarcity, and limitation. Hill found that successful people often reported receiving flashes of inspiration, sudden solutions to complex problems, and intuitive warnings about potential difficulties that saved them from serious mistakes. These individuals had developed their ability to receive what Hill called infinite intelligence by maintaining their minds in a state of positive expectancy and creative alertness. They understood that their brain was both a transmitting and receiving station, capable of picking up thought vibrations from other minds operating on similar frequencies. This explained why successful people often gravitated toward each other, and why they seemed to receive opportunities and insights that others missed entirely. They had trained themselves to be sensitive to subtle impressions and hunches that their logical minds might otherwise dismiss as imagination. The 13th and final principle Hill documented was the development of what he called the sixth sense, an intuitive faculty that successful people had learned to cultivate and trust. This wasn't mysticism or superstition, but a practical understanding that human beings possessed capabilities beyond their 5 physical senses. The wealthy individuals Hill studied had learned to recognize and act upon intuitive impressions that guided them toward profitable opportunities and away from potential disasters. They understood that this sixth sense was actually their creative imagination operating at its highest level, receiving and interpreting vibrations of thought from the vast reservoir of infinite intelligence that surrounded them. Hill found that this principle was the culmination of all the others, representing the full development of human potential through the systematic application of natural laws. Those who mastered all 13 principles found themselves operating with a level of insight, creativity, and effectiveness that seemed almost superhuman to outside observers. They could sense market trends before they became obvious, identify talented individuals before others recognized their potential, and make decisions with confidence even when they lacked complete information. My dear friend, as we near the end of this incredible journey through Napoleon Hill's revolutionary discoveries, I want to speak directly to your heart. If you've stayed with me this far, something deep inside you recognizes the truth and power of these principles. You're not here by accident. You're here because your spirit is calling you towards something greater than your current circumstances. Before we conclude, I want to ask you to do something that might feel vulnerable but could change everything for you. Hit that subscribe button not just for the content, but as a declaration that you're ready to commit to your own transformation. Then, in the comments below, share your story. Tell us where you are in your journey and which of these principles you're going to implement first. Don't worry about being perfect or having all the answers. Just be honest about your dreams and your commitment to pursue them. This community thrives when we support each other, when we celebrate victories together, and when we encourage one another through challenges. You have wisdom and experiences that others need to hear, and they have insights that could accelerate your progress. Together, we're stronger than any of us could be alone. What makes these 13 principles so revolutionary isn't just their individual power, but how they work together as a complete system. Hill discovered that successful people didn't just apply one or two of these laws. They integrated all 13 into their daily thinking and behavior until following them became as natural as breathing. They understood that wealth wasn't just about money. It was about developing the complete human potential and using that development to create value for others while building financial security for themselves and their families. The profound truth that Napoleon Hill spent 25 years documenting is that every human being possesses the same fundamental mental and spiritual equipment necessary for unlimited achievement. The difference between those who accumulate wealth and those who struggle financially isn't talent, education, or luck. It's knowledge and application of these 13 principles. Hill proved beyond any doubt that success isn't reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone willing to study these laws and apply them with persistence and faith. The Bible confirms this truth in Deuteronomy 30 verse 11, which tells us that God's commandments are not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. Similarly, these principles of wealth building aren't mysterious secrets available only to the elite. They're practical tools that anyone can master through dedicated study and consistent application. What makes Hill's discovery so extraordinary is that he didn't just theorize about success. He documented real people who had applied these principles to build actual fortunes. Every principle he identified was proven in the laboratory of human experience by individuals who started with nothing but transformed themselves into leaders of industry, inventors who changed the world, and philanthropists who blessed countless lives through their achievements. These weren't people born into privilege or blessed with unusual advantages. They were ordinary individuals who discovered extraordinary principles and had the courage to live by them regardless of their circumstances or the opinions of others around them. The tragic reality is that most people will read about these principles, perhaps even feel inspired by them temporarily, but they'll never implement them consistently enough to experience their transformational power. They'll continue living the same patterns that have kept them trapped in mediocrity, while these laws remain theoretical knowledge rather than lived experience. Hill found that the vast majority of people prefer the familiar discomfort of their current situation to the uncertain adventure of pursuing their dreams. They choose the safety of limitation over the risk of greatness, not understanding that staying where they are is actually the most dangerous choice of all. But you don't have to be part of that majority. Today, right now, you have the opportunity to make a decision that could completely alter the trajectory of your life and the lives of everyone you love. You can choose to implement these principles starting immediately, beginning with whatever resources and circumstances you currently possess. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions, additional education, or someone else's permission to begin applying these laws in your daily life. Hill discovered that successful people began where they were, with what they had, and improved their situation through consistent application of these principles rather than waiting for ideal conditions that never came. The first step is making the decision that you will no longer accept your current financial situation as permanent. You must develop what Hill called a burning desire for financial independence, a desire so intense that it dominates your thoughts and drives your actions every single day. Write down exactly how much money you want to accumulate. Determine precisely what you're willing to give in return for this wealth. Set a definite deadline for its achievement. Create a specific plan for reaching your goal, and commit to reading your written statement aloud twice daily while visualizing yourself already in possession of the wealth you desire. Begin immediately to surround yourself with people who share your commitment to financial growth and personal development. Seek out mentors who have already achieved what you're trying to accomplish. Join groups of like-minded individuals who are pursuing similar goals, and distance yourself from negative influences who discourage your ambitions or reinforce limiting beliefs about money and success. Remember that you become like the people you spend the most time with, so choose your associations deliberately rather than allowing circumstance to determine your influences. Start developing specialized knowledge in an area that interests you and offers income potential. Become so valuable in your chosen field that people seek you out and willingly pay premium prices for your expertise. Invest in your education continuously, not just through formal schooling, but through books, seminars, mentoring relationships, and practical experience. Understand that in today's economy, general knowledge is increasingly worthless, while specialized expertise becomes more valuable every year. Most importantly, develop unshakable faith in your ability to achieve your financial goals. Program your subconscious mind for success through daily affirmations, visualization exercises, and careful selection of the thoughts you allow to dominate your mental space. Eliminate fear, doubt, and negative thinking as completely as you would eliminate poison from your diet. Surround yourself with inspiring books, uplifting music, and positive influences that reinforce your commitment to wealth building rather than entertainment that programs you for mediocrity. The principles Napoleon Hill discovered aren't suggestions or good ideas that might work if you're lucky. They're natural laws that work as consistently as gravity for anyone who applies them with persistence and faith. Your financial future isn't determined by your current circumstances, your past mistakes, or the economic conditions around you. It's determined by your willingness to study these principles, implement them consistently, and persist until they produce the results you desire. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Your transformation begins the moment you decide to stop accepting less than you deserve and start building the prosperous life that's waiting for you.